biggest strength of my team would be communication and teamwork. When all of us are working together, talking to each other, we can usually accomplish anything, we can get anything done. That's definitely our biggest strength.
I would say the biggest strength of our team is probably just our teamwork. I think we have really good team play off each other. I think we have individually skilled players.
I think our biggest strength is probably aces, because the guy is nuts, but also the team play. I think we have a really good team play.
The preparation for the major was fine. Our practice before the major, we practice against European teams, we practice against American teams too, so I think we are prepared.
For group stage, we just refined all of our strats and we came up with some new stuff specifically for some opponents just in case we play them, so we feel very confident going into the group stage.
Coming into the group stage, we have what most people have considered the group of death. It's ourselves, NIP, the former Looking For organization, now Giants team, and then Spacestation Gaming.
EG and NIP both look really strong at the moment in Pro League.
I think EG is a great team. Our style can fit their play style, so I think we are prepared for them.
I don't really think I need to say anything to our opponents in our group. We're just going to let our actions speak for themselves and show up on game day.
To the rest of our group, I just want to say keep sleeping on us, and you guys will see what will happen.
There is a thing I would like to say to SSG, is like, we're going to send you on your space station again.
Let's do it.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's Group C, as they were all getting ready before yesterday's games got started. We've already had a few of those games go past, and at the moment, the NA teams have reigned supreme in the group, with both EG and SSG making it to this point in the matchup. Now, one of these two teams can make it through into the playoffs right now, this morning, today. So it's time to see whether SSG can upset the group and pull through in first position, or if EG instead is going to be able to come out on top. We'll take a look at some of the rosters for these teams and see who exactly is stepping up to the plate.
First things first, we have Evil Geniuses coming off a big win yesterday. It's going to be NVK, Netcrocs, Canadian, Young, and Geometrics. Multiple names that we've seen for an extremely long time, and one notable thing is Geo has finally got that visa, so he will be remaining on the Evil Geniuses roster. No more worries, no more Gotcha the Goat coming in. Don't have to worry about it, and Geo definitely showed up yesterday. Let's get right into the video for these boys.
Basically, coming into the match, we knew it was NIP. Every game with them feels very stressful and close. It's kind of a joke we have on our team, like a 7-0 against them even feels like it went full overtime. It ended up being a really close game regardless. We took Villa because we knew that it was kind of a more standard map for them. We thought we could abuse some things on it. We ended up kind of struggling to adapt to their play style a bit early, but caught on and made it work. And then on Consulate, we opened up with a great defense half, and then it's just attacking Brazilian Consulate is so difficult, so we really struggled with it. We ended up figuring out how we wanted to attack it, thankfully, in overtime. We got our attack round win, and then right after that, just closed on defense. Coming into the match, or the major in general, NIP has been looking like the best they've ever looked. Undefeated so far in Latin America. They won the qualifier in Latin America and everything. So we definitely kind of had to take things into account, like they're going to be no pushover. Like they're probably the #1 Latin American team right now, and we know that they're kind of an unusual playstyle compared to what we normally play against. So we kind of need to be ready for it, and we just basically nailing into our heads like we need to be prepared to play against this style. Like they play for kills, they don't play for plant, they play for picks. They're always rotating the trade on defense, stuff like that. So just keeping it all in mind and making sure that we don't forget it.
And that is the Evil Geniuses roster getting ready for today's matchup. The hope of NA, some might say, but plenty more teams have also been stepping up to that plate to challenge that title in recent months, and one of those teams has been Spacestation Gaming, who now face them on the other side of the table. You guys should know this roster by now, but just in case you don't, we have them here for you once again. Thinking Nade, Rampy, Bosco, Chella, and the newest addition as of just a few months ago, Fultz, being added in to increase that fragging potential, and we saw that fragging potential across the entire roster yesterday. Some absolutely incredible stats from yesterday's match when they played against the Giants. Every single player on the team consisting of a 1.1 rating or higher, with the highest being Thinking Nate, who specifically has had a massive improvement over the past few months. He pulled off a 1.2. With that said, though, let's head to their video and take a look at how they're getting prepared for the match against EG.
So a recap of the match. Both maps were going back and forth. They were really close. You saw we took a pause. So we used those to like slow down their momentum so we could just keep pushing forward and we win. People put titles on anything. We don't really think about underdogs or anything. We do what we need to do and we know it's gonna work, so we just do it. I am really excited to play against EG. We really want to play them on LAN. They usually beat us a lot online and we really want to prove ourselves here, and we know we play better at LAN, so we're looking to play them.
And there's our teams, ladies and gentlemen, with Spacestation Gaming stepping up to the plate once again. We'll have to see if they can bring their performance from yesterday's match versus Giants into the game versus EG. It's going to be quite the fun affair. I can't wait to get into it. We're just a couple of minutes away from starting the matchup at this point, folks, so don't go anywhere. We're going to jump into the map vetoes here in just a second. Wow, right on cue. Thank you very much, production. Let's take a look at where exactly this series is going to end up going. Border getting banned out first by EG. That's a very solid kind of rock pick for the guys on SSG, so they want to get rid of that safety pick from them. Bank being banned out. Pretty much the same thing, but from SSG's favor. Kafe is going to be the first pick, as EG will pick that one up. And followed up by Clubhouse, as we will see SSG go over to there. So sticking with a little bit of new flair, followed up by a map that we've seen come into prevalence, especially with the removal of Oregon recently. Coastline and Consulate will be the last two to be removed, again making sense. A little bit of a safe pick for SSG on the removal of Coastline. Consulate, I believe, also being a relatively strong map, especially when it comes to strategical prowess for EGs. They want to get rid of that. Villa ends up being the last map in the pool. So there you have our 3 maps for this best of 3.
Some smart bans by both teams, SSG and EG, both respectively, taking out each other's most played maps, trying to get to something more on a middle ground instead of allowing something through that they don't really want to deal with. SSG, though, will be taking up that Clubhouse, which we have seen Evil Geniuses play a handful of times, and actually that's going to be EG's most played map as of right now, but everyone knows that Evil Geniuses' bank is truly insane. They don't want to allow that through, and you can't really blame them.
Yeah, absolutely the case. So just a few more moments away, guys, from getting started with this one. We do have everybody in the server ready to go now. So Kafe will be our very first map. As you can see, some stats from EG overall and how they've played it. The same can be said for the folks over on SSG. So EG doesn't have much of a record on, or excuse me, we do see quite a bit of a record from SSG on this map. But for EG, only 2 plays on it, as you can see in recent history. It's a relatively new map, so we wouldn't expect a whole lot. Only 1 win and 1 loss for those guys, whereas SSG has a much more prevalent record at 5-1.
We can see both of the rosters are just so worried about this map, I can tell you. They're both just giggling. Rampy's got his energy drink. We're all good. Everything's ready to go, but as of right now, I would say that the matchups yesterday really just favored what SSG wanted to do. I think that Vodafone really just did not have an answer for what SSG was trying to pull off with some extremely hard executes. Their defensive side they'd never been really known for, but if they're able to try and raise that to a higher limit here, they might be able to sneak past Evil Geniuses. But as you guys heard Thinking Nate said, they play a lot better on land, so that could mean more aggression on their defensive side. But again, they're going to need to pick it up on that defensive side to get past Evil Geniuses in my eyes. But on the Evil Geniuses side yesterday, they had a very hard game, as you guys heard Canadians saying, on Consulate up against Ninjas in Pajamas. So we'll have to see how this affair goes down. It's Evil Geniuses versus Spacestation Gaming here on Kafe.
Another thing that I'm worried about as well for SSG is I've seen them online in the past. Whenever they get into a lot of 1vXs where they're the X, they're the advantage team, I've seen them throw those situations away quite a bit. So we'll have to be careful of that in these matchups too. First ban, though, going to be Thatcher.
We have had 3 Thatcher bans across our casting of Raleigh Major. So With that being said, Thatcher specifically makes things just a lot easier for hard breach, and it's a good idea to take it away, especially if you have gotten used to playing around that. Buck going to be the next offender banned out, and you guys might be asking, okay, why is it Buck? Why not Lion? Why not something else? The reasoning for Buck is because there's so much soft destruction on this map, whether it be vertically or from underneath, which obviously is to vertical play, it's just from a different perspective. So, with that being said, we're going to rip out Kaid, which means, well, is basically because Thatcher got banned. That's really the only reason.
Yep.
And then Mira for the last one, and we already talked about that. But Mira really good on Kafe nonetheless. So this is actually the most interesting bans that I've seen on Kafe in a while, especially with the Thatcher ban coming out. And obviously you have to respect ban that and bring out the Kaid. Already got rid of the Buck as well for all of that soft destruction. You can still achieve the same stuff with Sledge, just obviously he can't reach the ceiling with the Sledgehammer.
Not as versatile at the end of the day, and also missing the nade there, but thankfully Sledge can still bring that to the table as well, if memory serves me correctly. Kaid is an interesting one for me when you compare it to Bandit, but I can see the reasoning for it in that obviously he has the capability to reinforce the hatches, so you want to remove that on top of the gun as well that he has.
I got you.
What's
so
up?
They use Kaid a lot on this map because they actually go down to reading room and you can throw it up on the ceiling in the corner and it actually electrifies all of the walls from that corner piece.
Gotcha.
So an IQ can obviously not get it because all the walls inside of reading are hard except for the one in the red hallway. So you have to do is defend that long red hallway and all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom. You have electric walls, no one can get it.
Well, there you go. All right, guys, so let's get into the first round. As you might expect, we're going to be up on the top floor for the very first round. This is the go-to site for all teams right now. I don't know of another one that starts it out on a different floor. So here we go. Let's take a look and see if Space Station can start things off well on their defense. This is a map that they thrive under, as you saw from the map stats. Currently a 5-1 record in recent months. AG a little bit less experienced, but still has some wins here as well. So we'll have to see if that's going to be enough to get them over the superior record from SSG.
As you said, Space Station have a lot more game time on this, but it all matters when it comes down to land. It really doesn't matter what you do online. Do have the shield placed now for Fold, so very smart setup here. Obviously, as you said, they're more than likely not going to be bringing the bandage just because that can get pretty hard countered by IQ, especially if Evil Geniuses goes for a mid-floor take. A lot of the times on offense so far that we've seen on Kafe and how this map has been developing, especially on this floor, there's been a lot of Christmas clears. They will drone out new drop as well as Cigar over into Christmas, make sure that there's no pressure coming through, take control of Christmas, hold White Hallway, get that freezer wall open to establish new lines of sight, especially deep into Cocktail, and then try and win some gunfights on those anchors. Once that happens, they more than likely will plant in that corner right next to Fultz behind the bar.
So we've got the attackers starting to work their way into the building here now. Of course, as usual, it'll be a bit of a slow process. They'll be trying to take priority over getting control of Christmas. You do have Thinking Nade sat below in the train yards as well, and I think Canadian just got eyes on him.
Indeed. This is the one really cool thing about IQ is that you can detect any piece of electronic equipment that includes your phone if you are spectating someone. The amount of times that people have been shot through floors because they've been on their phones while trying to check cameras is actually a lot more than you guys would think.
It's also, it also detects like the pulse scanner as well, so it's a good way to kind of counter him out if he's a problem on the maps like Consulate. Maybe not so much here, although it's certainly a possibility we would get a pulse play, just not at this moment, obviously. A little bit of play downstairs as well, as it looks like the players from EG are also looking towards Garage. There's a little bit of access to try and push themselves up White Stairs potentially. We've seen a lot of teams having problems with pushing from Christmas as a result of a White Stairs player, so already looking at that as a potential counter to that if they need to send the Ash on NVK to the inside in order to do that. A minute and a half left though, and EG have remained pretty static for the most part here. SSG just continues to roam around the building waiting for them to make the first play, and Thinking Nade even getting a little bit aggressive here in the dining room, but not going to be able to find much at this point with a minute and 20 seconds left. We've had basically zero combat happen. However, that's now going to change as NVK completes his route, drops one player and gets the second. Fultz will be able to trade somewhere else on the map as he takes out Canadian, and now NVK will get himself out of the building after he confirms that second kill on the Thinking Nade.
Very good back and forth there by NVK, but Fultz trying to pick up the pieces, as you guys could see. He rotated outside through the White Stairs area, that little garage there, and almost had a little bit of a blunder there with a frag grenade, but Necrox will stay alive and remain at 100 HP. Next frag grenade is going to be allocated towards bathroom. After a quick flick, will take down Fultz, but he gets immediately traded. And we've noticed this, especially yesterday with SSG, their amount of trades and just playing things slow and steady to win most of these rounds. But again, these defenses are where things need to come alight for both of them, as Evil Geniuses had a hard offensive round yesterday. SSG had a hard defensive round yesterday, so both of them need to try and find some presence right now. Chala as well as Rampy still on Space Station Gaming, the last two remaining alive, as Chala and the rest of his team have established many lines of sight across that bar. MVK is going to continue his reign of terror, but Chala will shut him down. Chala will rotate over near the freezer wall. This plant needs to go down. It's on Young. He does not have very much health. He could possibly get lasered down by these evil eyes as Geo will move through. Tries to shut things down. Chala rotates up to try and go for the default plant spot, but they're going to find him. It's actually going to be Chala to stay alive as Young Kit went out the gunfight, a little bit of ring around the rosy, and Chala dancing to the right beat.
Great clutch from Chala right there, perfectly spotted, just plays it nice and patient, doesn't overextend his hand, and tries to take any of those two fights, waits for the plant to go down and pounces on it. And unfortunately, EG had split themselves up just a little bit too much to properly support the planter. As a result of that, Chala destroys him, delays the plant, and waits out the timer to give them the opening round.
Evil Genius is a little bit slow on the jump. They did have some initial picks that helped them out quite a lot downstairs. MVK with a triple kill there, and when you have that many opening frags, usually it's supposed to go in your favor of the offense, but SSG able to battle back. Fultz was on the move right there. I don't know exactly how he got that kill. The only place that I can assume that he went to was the bottom of white and went out the garage or the side door there and was able to find Canadian that was repelled. It did take Evil Geniuses a little bit of time to get an established angle on Thinking Nade, and really, Thinking Nade just stuck around a little bit too long inside of that room. I understand that someone is on repel and you can possibly get a free kill if Canadian peeks you wrong, but it'd be much better to try and get safely rotated out to other pastures instead of sitting there and just waiting for someone to rotate.
It's the way SSG likes to play it, though, from what I've noticed in early rounds, generally trying to play things pretty aggressive, and then based on how those first couple of rounds go, they'll either continue that pattern or kind of pull it back and play a more static defense in the later rounds of their defensive half. So we'll start to see that probably adjust a little bit as the game continues to move on here. So moving into the next round, of course, we're going to see the players from SSG move down to the kitchen. Again, following kind of common trends. Some teams go to the second floor first, but for the most part, it's looking like most teams that are playing on Kafe heading down to the kitchen before they take a second floor site.
Well, just some statistics for you guys here. The most banned operators currently inside of the Raleigh Major are Capitao and Echo. Big shock there. Yeah. Capitao has a 73% ban rate, and Echo has a 70% ban rate. Another thing is, as we were talking about, Thatcher has been banned out in quite a few games that we have casted. Thatcher has a 17% ban rate right now. He's actually in 4th, if I'm reading this correctly. Habana actually has a 37% ban rate. She's the second most banned offensive operator.
Which is surprising because we normally see that as more of a kind of niche thing, but in a lot of maps it's becoming quite useful recently in order to ban her out. The thing that surprised me was the overall irrelevance of Gridlock on that sheet, because I think her overall, like her summary percentage, which just combines the bans and picks, she's only at like 17% or something like that. Yeah, 11%. So pretty low in my opinion, considering how much we were seeing her used online when she first got added in. A lot of people were liking her, but it seems that Nomad is, which obviously fulfills a very similar role, tends to be taking that, tends to be picked or banned a lot more prevalently at this point.
All right, well, the one operator that has not been banned at all that has the highest picks, in case you guys were wondering about that, is going to be Zofia, which, why wouldn't you? Her kit's truly insane. She has some amazing weapons, impacts as well as concussions, making gunfights easier as well as having some soft destruction. Evil Geniuses now have their sights focused on establishing a hold upstairs as they're working their way slowly down, making sure that no one can rotate up wide as Necrox as well as NVK try and work the stables. Drones now coming out for Evil Geniuses. They're trying to clear this mid floor as well. They do have plenty of soft destruction on the offense. They actually have 3 operators, or if you want to include Geo as well, you can always include 4. That secondary shotgun can definitely do some due diligence on some floor breaking fun. SSG, though, has completely vacated the upstairs area and are just on a kind of stretched hold downstairs. Fultz currently inside of the VIP area. He's definitely grown into this roster and has been performing quite well recently. Did have some of those shakes at the at the minor, but it happens. Young player, young guy, just started playing competitive at this tier. First LAN, now he's coming to the Raleigh Major, and he looked absolutely fantastic yesterday.
A lot of reconstruction already being done up top here as the attackers try and leverage some type of control so they can execute. Once again, this is going to run very low time on the execute. Great camera there from the Mozzie. Rampy's being given a lot of intel in the corner. It doesn't seem as EG's noticed that drone was stolen, so he's going to get it all for free.
Thinking they will get droned out behind the bar, though. Someone does rotate down new stairs. It's going to be Necrox. Does have some frag grenades to try and deal with this, but Thinking is going to rotate away. Quite a bit of damage done as Foltz now gets in a gunfight from those new stairs. Takes down NVK, but Necrox will remove Thinking Nade from the lobby. Young with the refrag, though, as things start to transcend towards site. Bosco will go down as well. So this is starting to look like an Evil Geniuses round.
Good execute working its way in. Rampy's going to try to get aggressive to counter this, but he's misread the situation. Doesn't know where this player that's popped up into the wall is sitting at. Young's going to be able to catch him when he goes out into the hallway as a result of that. And now again, leaving everything mainly on Chala in the site. Bosco's still up as well, but he's incredibly low. Chala going to fall this time. Everything on Bosco, and he's not going to be able to maintain in the back of the kitchen. So EG run through the kitchen defense, trade out the opening round, and now go 1 for 1.
Young with a triple kill, and Canadian being the loudest man on the team. Name something you haven't seen before. I don't know.
Business as usual.
Business as usual, you know. Evil Geniuses stealing the rocket fuel from Spacestation Gaming. At least on that round. Last round, just a little bit of a blunder. Just could not keep track of exactly where Chala was, which is kind of funny enough because, you know, he is playing a 3 armor, which is the loudest people in this game. Those footsteps legitimately sound like elephants.
Yep.
It's truly insane. But Evil Geniuses with a very well-placed very well-paced take upstairs, clearing out the top and mid floor. SSG really gave it up for free, which is what you were talking about before. They like to pressure map control a little bit, but there really wasn't any showing of face that time around. They tried to hold the bottom level all by itself, but it appeared that once they were able to break through and capture Foltz, or at least that refrag from Young, especially with their kill over towards Bar on Thinking Nade with the frag grenade, they really blew that entire round wide open. And that's exactly what happened on Freezer when Young established that line of sight with the exothermic charge, and all of a sudden they have site control, knocking things down to Chala, especially after that takedown of Bosco through the soft wall. There was just really no way that SSG was fighting out of that hard place.
So, it's time to see if SSG can make up for the snows. We're going to be heading into a repeat of that same site in just a second. We do, of course, have a quick timeout, but that's already expired, so we're heading back in game. If you guys were wondering what that little bit of delay was, apologies for that, but we're back into it now. So let's take a look and see if Space Station are going to be able to correct their mistakes from the last round and still pick up a win here and lock this site down so they can go back upstairs to the 3rd floor. Overall, didn't do too bad of a job of delaying. Evil Geniuses just had an ace execute, which Space Station ultimately weren't able to find really any significant trades once the execute had begun, and as a result of that, they ended up dropping it pretty handily there to EG.
This is a pretty standard hold now on the kitchen site, is running these castles over here on the north side hallway to try and shut down lines of sight and make it a little bit safer for you to play. You establish that castle barricade so that north windows can't hold that long line of sight into Bakery, make it a little bit safer to play inside of there and contest the outside door as well as the window inside of that front Bakery area. Then, as you guys saw before, they had Thinking Nade as well as Foltz inside of the VIP/bar area to try and hold down the new staircase as well as the white hallway, making it extremely difficult for Evil Geniuses to try and gain any footing. But as we saw prior to this, it was just another day in the office for Evil Geniuses. Just play the trade game. They came out on top of the pile and were eventually able to get onto site. They had to do it again, though, and SSG, I really feel like they just need to battle for a little bit of this net map control, not just let Evil Geniuses establish all the lines of sight upstairs that they want to.
I think they do as well, so we'll have to see if guys on SSG are going to be able to increase that pressure to the necessity they need to stop EG, because right now, at least when it comes to like 3rd floor pressure, there is no one up here from SSG. They are just letting EG have it. They're going to be able to easily walk in and get full control of the 3rd floor and start swinging down through the 2nd as a result of that. There's a little bit more presence from the... Oh, okay. Swing and a miss.
Hey, bada. All right, well, Necrox already establishing lines of sight down into the mining room, as well as breaking some hatches open for quick transitions between floors. Honestly, I only feel like SSG really needs to hold on to the staircases here for transitions downstairs, and you can battle away from those. You can mainly hold white stairs here, and it helps out quite a bit on Kafe. The red stairs you can always fight for, but if they go downstairs, I mean, you already have Thinking Nade behind the bar. You have the castle barricades to hold down Bakery. It's not really the access point that you really want, because you're kind of in between two people with guns that really want to kill you. White staircase on Kafe has routinely been the backbone of this map, even in the past version of this map. If you're able to hold on to white staircase, you can usually hold on to site pretty easily because of the lines of sight that it helps you keep.
Oh.
But we're already going to have a stolen drone by Rampy, and Mozzie's play has been quite prolific throughout his career so far with Team Rainbow.
They had a stolen drone in the last round too, and were able to actually position it pretty nicely. I think the one that Rampy just stole got killed by the IQ, however, so they were able to deal with that before it became much of an issue. A little bit of spam coming in from NVK. He's going to try to spot out one of the members of SSG. It's not going to yield much fruit though. Canadian being droned in with his teammates. They're going to try to ice out the player in the corner. Fultz trying to use the Christmas tree as cover. It's not going to work, but does peek right into Rampy on the next angle. He goes down to him, thinking nade as well from behind the bar. Picks up NVK, trying to leap in through the window. So just like that, SSG take the man advantage, and there's only 30 seconds left for EG to correct it.
A little bit of a misplay there by SSG with Fultz just not helping him out in the hallway, making it to where Canadian can just rotate up and really do whatever he wants, but they immediately fire back. Canadian and NVK both taking a dirt nap right quick, and we're going to have Young Geo and Necrox remaining left alive for Evil Geniuses. Quick transition, but Rampy with a nitro cell placement won't be able to claim that frag. 10 seconds left as they have to try and get this diffuser down. It's going to be Young once again to try and battle into sight. He's actually going to be all on his lonesome because Necrox is still rotating in. He has to try and go for this diffuser now. 0-0 on the clock. Necrox not going to be able to help out, and the Yokai still up as we do have Echo in play. Will win SSG the round. A lot better time on delaying. I almost like that they just kept Fultz on an island and not overpeak that, not overextend, because Rampy at the end of the day was able to handle the situation very, very well.
Yeah, very static defense, but besides that was still able to do a great amount of delay over towards the bar and other areas like that, so wasted that last, minute or two. To be fair, a lot of that delay's on EG's own fault, though, because they took a long time just to clear out areas like 3rd and 2nd floor, which didn't ever really have anyone on it from SSG to begin with, so they were just being really cautious.
Yeah, and you can really lean into that a little bit because you have Jackal. Obviously, you have prep phase drones. Just set those at the staircases and go, okay, if anybody rotates up, we can get their footprints, and if they don't, we already know everything's clear.
Yep.
Just establish those early info drones to make it to where your clears can be a lot faster and you can focus more on site instead of focus more on the ghosts that are on the 3rd and 2nd floor.
Well, speaking of the 3rd floor, SSG has unlocked it for use again after 2 rounds after they won it, so they can go back to it now with the lead in their pocket here. And once again, trying to play that delay game to force EG out of the site. Give them yet another round here to push them ahead at potentially 3-1 for EG if they can take the win there. As far as EG is concerned, not doing a terrible job, just needs to increase the pacing slightly here. Besides that, in terms of their consistency with fighting, and especially when it comes to the actual gunfights at the end of rounds, they're still doing a really good job of winning a large majority of the 1vx's that they're ending up in.
Not very much rotation coming out from Space Station, though. Once they get their area established per player, they really don't move from it. The most movement we've really seen on defense was that round where Chala had to just completely run around the site to stay alive in order to win the first round. So, with that being said, as you said, we are going to be going back upstairs. Multiple lines of sight going to be established through the bars, which this is now just a routine thing. You just break both ends of the bars so you can see the default plant spot. That's why it has shifted over next to that bag of trash that sits in the corner next to Freezer, as obviously it is a hard wall. You cannot shoot through it, can't reinforce it, can't really do anything with it. So a lot safer area in order to play. We are going to have Canadian, though, as we've seen before with him. He will transition from Ash to IQ to Jackal to Monty. That's currently what we are going to have. We're going to have the Mountain in play. And we haven't actually seen too much play from him. We've had him banned only 4% of the time, and he's only been picked 2% of the time, which is actually kind of strange because we've seen quite a bit of play from him in recent history.
Rampy's like 3 for 3 on getting stolen drones right now. Or
yeah,
3 for 4, I guess.
Especially with that Mute Mozzie combo, that is insane for denying information. And Evil Geniuses works extremely heavily off of information. They do not want to try and give up any face at all, but especially in this round, it's a good thing they brought Canadian on the Monty.
It's got to be really frustrating for EG, and it may explain part of the reason as to why they're taking so long to get to their execute point, just because they're not able to get good drone intel. And as a result of that, they obviously don't want to take any risks on blind peeking things, so just ends up slowing down the takes by a massive margin. Legion in play this round, of course, on Bosco. He's going to be throwing one of those mines down in the White Hall to hold off the push from the attackers, and most importantly, the Montaigne. But this won't stop them from opening up the bathroom and then following that up the Freezer doorway to allow Montaigne to start moving forward a little bit more and starting to grab some intel as well. Still 1 minute and 20 left, though, so EG seem to be very well aware of their pacing issues and are looking to correct that.
Oh, Nitro Cell goes out, but Gio's using a single bullet hole to find Rampy. What else would you expect from the Bean himself? Fantastic player, as we've known for such a long time. Gio with a quick rotation will be able to take him down. So that's going to make things a lot easier. Rampy has been a nuisance, to say the least, so far throughout this game, especially with his Nitro Cell plays. Quick rotation up white, though, from Thinking Nate. Will win out the gunfight. Fultz attack on. That's Canadian down as well. No more Monty. Could have possibly been a Legion Mine. We really don't know, but that is obviously going to be the hard counter for that Monty play, is those Legion Mines on the ground. Remaining up to the last 3 remaining members of Evil Geniuses as they're trying to pick up the pieces here, thinking a little bit of damage done to him, but he's going to be able to hold down White Hallway. And that's really all you need, once again, to hold down this site, is just make sure that they can't get that rotation to try and take out anyone inside of Cocktail. Yeah. They do still obviously have to worry about Chala inside of Cocktail with that Alda, but MVK is trying to move up into the quick shot, as she will also take down Thinking Nate. Fultz with the trade, though, and we're all of a sudden in a 2v2 situation. Necrox moves up and through Cocktail, trying to challenge over towards White. They need to get the diffuser down, though, as Fultz rotates out of Freezer, but Bosco will be the first one to take down MVK. It's all left up to Nightcrocs. He's going to make it a 1v1, and they're playing out the time. He has to stick the diffuser here on Bosco. He's just going to play it smart. Waits for that 0-0, has to rotate in. Will he be able to find Necrox in time? And he will. That's going to be a free frag. You won't get the kill, though, only down him, but that's all it's going to take in order for SSG to win their 3rd round.
Yeah, yet another round where SSG are basically able to just delay it to the timer and force EG into an unwinnable situation. At least the 2nd round now, where they've had to deal with that, and pretty much all 4 rounds that have been played out so far have ended due to either EG being able to finally push him with just a few seconds left and execute SSG, or SSG successfully delaying out the timer. Really good stuff right now by SSG. Evil Genius is still working on those pacing issues. Best proponents they had to try and counter that last round was definitely Gio and NVK, who are making the most progress on finding those picks. That single little bullet hole pick from Gio was brilliant, as well as the kind of risky push we saw from NVK to hop over the bar there. Risked a lot of his life in doing that, but was able to find some impact and finally push his team forward to almost a plant, but just not enough at the end of the day, unfortunately.
It was really the only option that they had at that point, was try and make something happen. He did have that smoked off from the line of sight due to the fact that they did have the Jackal, smoke that out really quick, and then try and force your way up to Cocktail. Because as we said before, with Thinking Nate alive, especially on White Staircase, there's no way in hell that you're going to be able to get up that White Hallway with at least either taking some damage or getting killed. So better option is, okay, we're just going to smoke this off and hope to God that they don't have an evil eye that can see me as I rotate from bar to bar and try and get a better angle. Luckily enough, Chala did peek into it for NVK's sake, but it still was nonetheless at the end of the day.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of presence from NVK the first time they attacked over towards 3rd floor, and it looked like he was trying to pressure towards White Stairs. He ended up helping out with dealing with roamers back towards like the dining room and fireplace area back in that round. But I feel like he could very easily as well try to pull the White Stairs player away from the hallway, or at least distract him to some extent. Unfortunately, we didn't see that used this time. It was pretty much all focused on the push towards the site from EG in that last round, so weren't really able to shift him away. And as such, like you were mentioning, that presence towards Whitehall and White Stairs was just consistent throughout the entire round.
A little bit of a different hold upstairs, but obviously we're not going to be on the upstairs because they won the prior round. So they will be downstairs in mining as well as the dining room. So top floor hold allocated for Space Station Gaming. Instead of reinforcing the freezer wall, they are just going to establish a line of sight so that Rampy can use that ACOG to try and have battles inside of Christmas and just make it a little bit harder for anyone to transition. You guys will see NVK getting himself up on top of the skylight, which is exactly how you do it. You hop up there and you just wiggle back and forth until you're up at the top, and you can look directly down. You can actually look down into pillars as well, which is it's a very tight angle, but you can still get kills from it if someone is rotating towards new stairs. Canadian now on that IQ, and it's been pretty good with this so far, as what I've seen in recent history with the electronics detector. He's been using it quite a bit to be able to establish, okay, we have pests here, we have Legion mines here, especially with the amount of Legion that Bosco has been playing as of late. Probably a good pickup.
So another minute gone from the round here, and obviously once again EG playing it incredibly slowly, not taking any chances with their attack so much just yet. They're trying to wait this out and play for as much intel as possible, but we're going to see NVK get found out early on in the round due to some aggression from Rampy. Bosco also striking as well to be able to find Gio. That's 2 of your biggest players on EG, especially when it comes to fragging potential, gone. And you still have a minute and a half left in the round here. Not a good look right now for EG. They've been able to turn around much worse situations, however.
Well, bullet points here for Rampy as he's trying to find the kill, but Young with a sixth sense, apparently knowing exactly where those bullets are coming from due to the tracers on them. Thinking Nade, those still up as well upstairs, and they're going to continue to contest. And this is something that we were both talking about before. They were really not showing any contention on these top floors when they were holding the bottom floor. And now they're doing it. It might be because they're on the mid floor, and there's a lot more soft destruction on this top floor to the mid floor than there is from the mid floor to the bottom floor. But we'll have to see if they do it once again. Quick shots coming out from Netcrox as he's trying to bring something back here, but Spacestation just not really showing them anything. They already have the picks they need, but Canadian will finally start things off for Evil Geniuses at the 45-second mark.
Chala actually not able to connect a whole lot of damage there on, I believe it was Canadian who was leaping in. It's not really going to be able to get much going against him. In the meanwhile, though, we are going to see the Maestro head back downstairs as they're trying to trap out these players, but they fail to realize Chala sitting in the back, and a great adjustment to be able to find Canadian on top of the frag on Necrox. Great stuff again from Chala. Be able to bring this down into a 4v1. Should be an easy close it at this point. Young's the only one left. At least he's got the diffuser, but he's only got 14 seconds left, and in all honesty, he's nowhere near the site.
Yeah, take this moment in time as a makeshift tactical timeout for Evil Geniuses as they will discuss back and forth exactly how they need to handle this last offensive round. Granted, Kafe is an extremely hard map to attack, and we've talked about that quite a few times, but as you guys can see it from the way that Spacestation is holding this map, they're establishing a lot of lines of sight on all of the windows, making it extremely difficult to even have any presence on that mid floor. Their top floor hold was also fantastic. No one could even really get a foothold on Christmas, which was truly insane, but I mean, what else do you expect from Rampy upstairs with the help of Thinking Nade?
And this is on top again of that info denial that we've been seeing play out so well for Spacestation, mainly due to what you were mentioning before, the Mute and Mozzie combo, just making drones essentially ineffective across this entire game. And that's on top of Thatcher being banned as well, making executes even more difficult.
That's exactly why that Thatcher ban happened, is because they're playing Mute and Mozzie. Again, Thatcher is an amazing operator. Arguably, he's one of the best operators in the game because of how much stuff he can destroy on the defense just by one use of one of those EMP grenades. But when you have the Mute Mozzie combo, it's a lot easier just to chuck one of those through and go, okay, I just destroyed probably 2 mutes, and then as well as maybe a pest. And then that'll establish an area, or at least, you know, a broken section that you can possibly get through the defense, get some information, and help out your offense, because the offense is always starved for information. The defense really never is. Obviously, all the default cams are always destroyed because we obviously are playing at an extremely high tier level of Rainbow Six Siege. So more than likely, every single cam and every single round is going to be destroyed. That's why you have all these info ops that are always played, like Pulse, Mozzie, Valkyrie. We have so many now. It's almost ridiculous on the defense, but that is why you see those that so often, is because the defense is always trying to just gain all the information they possibly can, where the offense is usually starved and they have to use those drones correctly to try and gain anything back, or we use operators like Jackal.
Bosco with a quick little door peek there from the bakery door. Not going to be able to find much, as we didn't see much spawn from EG over towards that area, so he's going to pull that back very quickly and start throwing down those goo mines on the respective stairwells right now. It looks like his priority to throw goo mines onto. Slowly we can set up that, I think it's 6 max goo mine matrix across the rest of this floor here.
He gets a maximum of 8.
8, sorry.
No, you're fine, you're fine. Don't worry, the first LAN I ever casted, USN, I said he had 11 like 17 times. Yeah, no. It is 8 though. That's the only reason I remember that, is that he has 8. So, can't fault you for that. But again, they have so much denial here, and really you have to lean on Canadian quite a bit to be able to destroy all of this, especially with Volts on Pulse now, because that's just a dangerous game to be playing. You already have so much utility that is placed around that Canadian's going to be seeing through an electro sensor, and all of a sudden you have a man moving around with a cardiac sensor as well that he also has to keep track of. So almost performing triple duty here is Canadian in round number 6.
Also important to mention too, most of this utility right now is being deployed relatively close to the site, so Canadian may not even have easy access to trying to destroy a lot of this intel denial that's being placed right around the first floor, just because it's a risk to his own life if he goes down there that aggressively. So as you can see, again, you still have that kind of defensive matrix set up across the entire first floor by SSG, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. They have to spend a lot of time trying to get the appropriate amount of intel in order to properly be able to push some of these angles, but SSG have so much control of the first floor, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do for EG.
So the entire northwest going towards south area, this mining to train to dining room area is the only soft floor on the mid floor. That's the only soft area. It's kind of like an L if you guys can think of the map in your head. So besides that, there's no other area on this bottom floor, or excuse me, this mid floor that is a soft flooring and able to shoot down. So all this up over here are new stairs, everything in the bar area, all of that is going to stick around unless Canadian rotates down to that level in order to shoot it. Now, though, since they are nearing the last little bit here of the round, Bosco will get his last goo mine, which means there is going to be 8 of those on the field, and it's going to be a massive detriment for Evil Geniuses to try and get into sight, especially with this turret sitting inside of Prep Kitchen, but MVK will alleviate that quickly, as we will see Young get aggressive. Fultz now, with the cardiac sensor, notates somebody rotating towards new stairs, as he will shift himself into bar. Has to sprint away, though, because he has NVK on his coattails, doesn't want to die just yet, especially with how close this round is. Rampy now, though, still inside of the dining room area, or excuse me, the dining room area downstairs instead of the mid floor, as we are having a rotation from Fultz upstairs, as he will catch Canadian off guard, and the rest of SSG to follow. It's only left up to Geo, has a goo mine in his foot, and thinking Nate will put a cap in that as well, as Space Station Gaming takes their defensive side 5-1.
So Space Station Gaming dominate on this defensive side. A lot of it due to utility usage, as we have been mentioning a couple of times. The problem is Evil Geniuses, if they want to, can use those same exact tools now, as they're about to jump onto the defense. So we'll have to see if SSG has a plan to potentially deal with that, and most importantly, if EG is going to try and take the same page, or if they look to do something different. We do see the Mozzie pick coming in. Are they also going to try to leverage the Intel denial with a mute? It's not looking like it, as Canadian goes for the Maestro instead.
If there's anything for me to talk about right now, I would say I definitely need to talk about Fultz, because of anybody on this roster, this is this man's first major. He's only played 1 LAN ever in his entire life. That was the Vegas minor that you and I were both at. And to show up and not only practically slap Vodafone Giants, he was the 2nd highest rated on his entire team, but to come to the Raleigh Major, come into the group stage and go, okay, we are inside of the group of death that everyone has been talking about so much. Let's take it to Evil Geniuses. And that's what they're doing right now. Evil Geniuses has quite a bit of fighting to do to even try and bring things back to a manageable amount here, as it is currently 5-1. Space Station only needs 2 rounds to win this map, and then we will be going to our second map between these two. And it appears that Space Station might just have Evil Geniuses' number on Kafe, or Evil Geniuses just does not have the best attack strategy for Kafe. That can also be a possibility. We saw Evil Geniuses do a very good job of clearing the top floors, but it just took too long, like we were talking about earlier. And things should not be taking that long, especially when you have a Jackal, excuse me, as well as enough drones to get them up to the mid floor in order to watch those staircases for rotation. I don't know if Rampy was just immediately getting pests out onto the staircases, making it to where people couldn't rotate up, but a lot of the times that we saw, they already had drones on that mid floor when they started. Immediately when they switched off, they hadn't thrown a cam yet, and there was drones on the mid floor. So I am questioning their info gathering during the prep phase. They might need to pick that up a little bit when Space Station is on defense, because a lot of the times they are just around sight.
Yeah, the intel gathering, unfortunately, is a huge deficit right now to EG. EG's overall fundamentals on attack aren't looking too bad ultimately, but it's just their opponents keep throwing things at them that they just don't know how to deal with. Whether it was the aggression yesterday from NIP that it's keeping them guessing, and for a large amount was keeping them out of the building. Or if it's the intel denial that we're now seeing from SSG that they haven't seemed to figure out a way to counter. Either way, it's definitely showing up as an issue for teams with strong or just different defensive tactics besides a static hold. And that could be a real problem for EG going into the later stages of the tournament, I fear, as well. We'll see, though. So obviously there's still an opportunity for SSG to falter here now on attack if EG is able to pull off just as strong as the defense. Their defense looked great yesterday, much like how SSG's looked here in the first half. So I wouldn't count them out of this map just yet, but things are certainly looking dire.
All right, well, Geo in typical fashion, recognizing how some footsteps are coming through Kitchen, and immediately pre-fires through the wall to try and get any sign of life. And he will tag up Bosco just a little bit. Obviously nothing to be fatal. Didn't even take 20 HP off the guy. Bullets, when they do go through walls, they do a little bit of less damage. Unless it's a headshot, just like that, that'll knock down Bosco and make things a lot easier for this Evil Geniuses squad. What we've seen from them on defense so far is that they like to be extremely rampant. And that's exactly what we saw in console when they were playing up against NIP yesterday. Thinking they had to rotate in, and Necrox with the refrag, though, as things begin to equalize out and settle down, as SSG is trying to pick up the pieces. They're trying to get Rampy aggressive upstairs, but there is no one to be had, as they have already all rotated down to that mid floor. We do actually still have one person upstairs. That's going to be the Jaeger. That's NVK playing over towards White Stairs, as well as I think he has one other person with him. Yes, it's going to be Necrox. Oh, we're on the top floor. I thought we were on the mid floor.
Working our way back into the rest of the round. This very active defense that we've seen, at least in the early round from EG. You can tell they pulled most of it back here now. I mean, the damage has been done. They've got a 4v3. No reason to overextend themselves and continue to take any risks. NVK will still hold the white hulls, of course, and look to counter any push from there. But the remaining 3 on SSG are just trying to go for your standard Christmas execute now. And that's going to be very difficult to do with this little manpower, and also with some of your biggest fraggers gone.
Don't you love when you look at the wrong silhouettes to the walls and think it's a different site?
I did that yesterday too, I think, with the same site. So.
Yeah. Oh, Canadian's going to go down. New angle over on new drop towards a new balcony that Fultz will be able to find Canadian through on a thread the needle shot with an ACOG. They are obviously going to know someone's playing inside a freezer. They're always playing inside a freezer. Rampy will quickly dispatch Necrox, and all of a sudden this becomes an SSG round. MBK to equalize, though, as Chala starts to pop off. It's all up to Young, though, against Fultz. The new man up against the Titan that is Young. We've seen him clutch up so many times on the support role, and it's going to be Young once again to put a capitalization mark on their first defensive round.
Again, great hold by Young, very similar to how we saw Chala clutch in the first round of SSG's own defense. Just played calm, patient, waited for his opponent to make a mistake, and that's exactly what happened. Great stuff from EG, exactly what they needed to. They lost that round. Probably wasn't much of a hope for them getting back into this map. Now they've got a chance as they started off strong on that third floor defense.
Well, going to the second floor now, so I was correct just a little bit later, right? That's how that works, I think?
You're just reading the future.
Yeah, I was just reading the future. Yeah. Sorry, guys. My third eye is just so wide open. I just was predicting everything. I apologize about that.
All the viewers have just received an invoice for $20 and 20 minutes of your time.
You guys want to see my tarot cards? No, but we will be jumping into round 8 now, and Canadian switching over to one of his most prolific operators, Blue. He's going to be on the pulse, switching off of the mute. We saw quite a bit of mute play from SSG on their defense, as we did talk about that mute Mozzie combo that's become such a detriment to a lot of offenses because of how much information it steals and how important info is to the offense. This is what Rainbow Six is all surrounded by, is information game. You can get all the kills in the world, all the good rotations, everything, but information is king inside of Siege, and those two operators deal so much damage to that name.
Yeah. Well, guys, we'll see how well EG are able to fare off now on the second floor. SSG as well. Some issues in dealing with the active roaming presence there from EG, especially down on the lower floors on the third floor defense. We're probably going to see the same thing just with players up on the third floor, as you can already see Young reinforcing the walls on the new cocktail balcony. So you can expect play up here for sure, and that Evil Eye is going to be a big part of it. Young will more than likely be sticking around here, in fact, using that Evil Eye to provide him intel and use it for peeks if he can find any way to pick up a kill. There you go. There's the shield to further support it. So he'll be playing aggressive here. SSG did pretty much the same exact thing with Chala, and I think they actually had one more supporting Chala as well, so they had 2 players up here in Cocktail Lounge, but one will be enough if that's what they're going to do. However, it looks like that's not even going to be the case. Still quite a bit of presence up here from EG, as either NVK or the Castle Geo going to be sticking around. More than likely I'd say Geo, but no, dude, they're getting super aggressive on like Cigar, looking to hold off against the Red Hatch drop as well. EG want to crush this right at the start.
Yeah, this looks like a TSM from yesterday from what we saw on them from Kafe, where they would not even give anyone anything inside of Christmas and got quite a few frags off from the likes of Merc. MVK, though, trying to pick up that flag here inside of Christmas, but will immediately rotate off once he has been found. Don't really want to stick around too long if you're found outside of the room. There's so many windows to worry about and so many lines of sight. Don't want to try and give yourself up too soon.
So we will continue to move into this round here. So now we finally have players from SSG dropping in. Bosco continuing to proceed. Thankfully, he's got the scan onto Jaeger, so he's been able to force him out of Christmas at a minimum. A little bit of drone presence, too, just add some extra safety for him. He's going to be happy, though, just getting control of that little piano area. And is now going to look to hold this presence for just a time being. Still, you got quite a few members of EG. They do get a hard ping onto one of the players that's hiding inside of the freezer right now, but he's still going to try to leverage his way forward. However, Bosco gets the angle on him first, and Rampy finishes him off. NVK, though, quickly trades that back out by finding Rampy a second later. Scan's going to go back onto Jaeger. He's been able to successfully, well, kind of successfully retreat. Ran at the window instead. It's going to make a long, long run back to the inside, but as you can see, no one nearby from SSG to try and counter that out, so he's going to make it back inside nice and safe. However, Thinking Nate will still strike next, finding Canadian towards the second floor.
That's a big pick, especially when they're going to be trying to get this diffuser down very soon. And Canadian always trying to look for one of those nitro cells underneath, so definitely better to dispatch him early on instead of trying to deal with him when he is trying to explode you from underneath. 3 people, though, from SSG living inside of Cigar Shop as of right now, trying to clear out this top floor still. We do still have 1 member of Evil Geniuses upstairs. Actually, I believe 2. Yes, we do. We have 1 in White Hall that Bosco will dispatch as Thinking he tries to get aggressive, and he will win out against Young. It's all left left up to Netcrocs in a 1 versus 4. 40 seconds left. 2 Toxic Babes by his side, but I don't see this going very well. As Bosco is still alive, more than likely a Jackal track will ensue, and that will spell the demise of Netcrocs.
What an awkward fight there for the King. Really had to work the angle to try to pick up that kill. But
ACOG's up closer.
yeah,
Not fun.
yeah. He got it though ultimately, and we can see Netcrocs now being tracked. That's that icon at the bottom left corner of the screen, in case you're wondering, means he is currently being hunted down. Every time that little bar in the middle of it fills up, his position is revealed another time. He's got 2 ticks left on it. They're hunting him down. Time's getting low here anyway. He's gonna try and delay it as best he can. You gotta give him props for trying here, but unfortunately not gonna be enough. Bosco wipes him out. Space Station pick up yet another round.
So the last time these two teams played was back on July 23rd, and Evil Geniuses ended up beating Space Station Gaming 7-2 on Consulate. But that was not in a LAN environment. That was during online play, where Evil Geniuses has always had quite a bit of prowess, but as you guys heard Bosco say in his interview, keep sleeping on us, everything's fine, we're in a LAN environment. We're going to take it to the house. And that seems to be exactly what they're looking to do right now. 6-2, and that's quite a bit of an exclamation point from SSG, especially after EG taking out NIP in very close fashion yesterday.
All right, so we do have a tactical timeout coming in, and it's very much needed. Well, unfortunately, potentially a little bit too late here, but regardless, they'll use it anyways. EG is going to call for a pause, figure out what they might be able to do next on this kitchen attack, to be able to see how they can maybe bring this back, if that's even a possibility at this point. They now need to run 4 rounds in a row. They can't lose a single one, otherwise the map goes over to Space Station Gaming. And even when they win those 4 rounds, they still need 2 more to win the map.
Imagine playing an entire game of Rainbow Six at this level and not making a mistake. That's basically what they have to do right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a very, very difficult thing, because all it takes is one slip in information, somebody to get a free rotation that somebody wasn't watching flank at the proper time, or a piece of utility goes awry, and all of a sudden you've lost the map, and it's all because of what SSG's been able to accomplish so far. Their offensive side has been so clean, and Evil Geniuses just has not had anything to be able to stop it just yet. Their top floor looked very, very good. SSG really didn't have an answer for that, but again, after a 5-1 split, all it really takes is for a team to slip up twice, and all of a sudden you have a 1 map. That's the dangerous game of a 5-1, especially when you're switching sides.
All right, guys, well, here we go. We're live once again, and if you can hear the ticking in the background, that means we're going back into the match now. Let's see if indeed SSG can close this out with one final attacking round, or if Evil Geniuses still have a little bit of fight left in them to bring this back under their own control. It's going to be a very tough task indeed. If not, they'll have to look to Clubhouse next in order to bring them back into the matchup. Otherwise, Space Station might just be able to close this out 2-0.
Well, Geo 6-picking into Valkyrie, as you guys could see, and he got very lucky. Fultz 6-picked immediately off of IQ, first showing the Ash, then moving over to the Sledge. So instead would like the man with the hammer, as well as some frag grenades, and a pretty dang good gun as well. As Fultz is currently 6-5, sitting and tied 3 ways for second most frags on his roster. SSG overall is just looking very, very teamy. We don't really have a very top-heavy team. I mean, if I can use that, they just look very coordinated. Yeah. Everyone's getting their kills. There's not a person that is, lacking behind. I think that as of right now, this roster is looking to really take this in a 2-0. Evil Geniuses needs to try and find their footing. I don't know if it's because it is still, I guess, relatively early in gamer hours. I don't know.
I guess so. That's
is there a gamer time of clock? Can we get a gamer clock?
I feel like we're already in gamer hours, right?
I don't think this is
it's
gamer
past
hours.
Noon.
Nah, dude, I don't wake up till like 3 p.m. What do you mean? My sleeping schedule is terrible.
You might be like on advanced gamer hours.
I'm an advanced. I am an elite gamer.
Yeah, that's like pro gamer hours. That's too pro for me.
Get on my gamer hours.
But yeah, like a big highlight I think of yesterday's game as well, and I talked about this a little bit in the pregame, is how Space Station was just so good as a team. Everyone had really great stats. Like again, just emphasize this: 1.1 to 1.2 rating for all 5 players. It's so rare you see that in my opinion.
I will say this, just to kind of get a good debate going back and forth. Vodafone is a very questionable team. They either show up and they will just murder literally everything, or they come out very, slow, very dry, and nothing really happens. I mean, look at their stats from yesterday. The only person on their team that had a positive rating, well, there was 2 of them, was a 1.06 and a 1.0. Everyone else had a negative player rating, which not the best. It was Corey and Rise were the 2 on their team to be able to have those stat lines as everyone else had fallen off. SSG, as Blue said earlier, everyone with a 1.1 and above, which obviously means everyone is doing their job to an extremely high tier level. Spacestation Gaming will lose Bosco off rip, though. That means no more Jackal tracks. Evil Geniuses can breathe a lot easier. But the point I was trying to make is that really isn't a test. This right here is a test, especially how we saw Evil Geniuses playing yesterday against NIP. We did say that their offense was a little lackluster on Consulate, but I mean, you got to give it to them. Ninjas in Pajamas was all over that map. I think this is a lot better test for SSG, as we're soon seeing. Volts will down the man inside of, oh no, NVK to actually get the refrag. Geo's still going to be down. They could possibly pick him up, but Rampy trying to work his bait as we are going to have NVK continue to be marked out. Rampy will work his way up top, and he's just sipping right through the cracks right now, and no one can seem to find NVK. He's trying to rotate above. He will finally. No, he won't. NVK is just ripping him apart. Is he going to hop down? Rampy might get too aggressive here as two of his friends have passed away off of the back of NVK's efforts, and Rampy not being able to find his mark.
Man's getting away with murder right now. So leap down from...
Oh.
There. Oh. Nearly peeks the kill hole. That would have been a mistake. Tries to wrap it around, but none of that's open. It's not going to be able to work out to give him the angle he needs. Finally, Rampy gets the counter onto NVK, and we are back down into a 2v2. Man, what a race that was.
Yeah, NVK just finding the seeps and the cracks of the offense right there, just immediately breaking through with a burst of speed and finding multiple kills along the way as well. It wasn't just, okay, I need to run and save my life. It's, okay, I'm going to remove everyone from the game that tries to peek me, all up until Rampy, obviously, with that F2. It is Chal and Rampy left alive, 10 seconds, and this is really looking like Evil Geniuses when they attack this exact same site. Rampy will open up the kitchen door with that F2 as Chala tries to get aggressive. He does have the diffuser, though. Canadian will shut him down. It's one more. Tack it on. 2 birds, 1 shotgun.
Pop from Canadian, and there we go. The round is over, mainly off of the prowess from NVK, of course, pulling out that amazing aggressive play to just completely destroy the setup from Space Station, completely detach them, and ultimately, as you saw at the end of the round, forced them to run out of time and right into Canadian shotgun. Still, however, in the hot seat, though, running off of an individual play like that, you certainly can't rely on that for every single clutch to happen. So we're going to need the rest of the team to still step up here. Thankfully, though, that's a good start, a good confidence boost at a minimum for EG to work their way back into this. 3 more rounds to go. And even better, they can go back up to the 3rd floor now, which is the easiest site to defend.
Yeah, as you say that, I just realized that I said capitalization mark earlier, by the way, instead of exclamation mark. So that happened.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's a different thing.
Yeah, it's a different thing. It's in the Mandarin language. You guys just aren't on.
It's like that's like when you're in like 4th grade and you have like a teacher's like grading your essay.
What's a dead language? It's in Latin. You guys won't know that. Ha.
Okay.
Latin's a dead language, dude. That's a real thing.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I learned it in high school, actually. Funny enough, I took it because you don't have to say it. You just have to spell it out. You just have to write it down.
So speak some Latin for us.
I can't speak any Latin because I've never spoke Latin. Also, the only thing I remember how to say in Latin is pig. That is it.
What is it?
I can't remember.
You just said you remembered it.
I don't. I lied.
This is a sham.
No, I can write it down though, but I can't.
It doesn't mean anything.
I can't speak any Latin. I can only write some words. I literally learned 3 years and I failed it. I'm so serious. I was terrible in high school, man. I'm real gamer hours. Remember, real.
I took 1 semester of German. I got a C. So
speak some German for us.
Meine Name is John. Pretty sure that's like grammatically incorrect as well, and I think at least one of those words is wrong. So mine's not that great, to be fair.
All right. Well, we definitely can't speak other languages, guys, but hopefully we can at least speak the language of Siege, right? At a decent level. So that's good. All right. Well. Space Station Gaming now on offense here once again is we're on match point for them still as Evil Geniuses is trying to battle back, and so far Space Station Gaming's offensive half is kind of been lackluster. They've claimed 1 round, but it's more been Evil Geniuses who's been battling things out, but they still have to dig themselves out of quite a hole. Still 3 rounds to find to even push this to overtime. Quite a few more. Oh, excuse me, 2 more. So they're going to have to go 5 in a row in order to win this all together.
Let's get a very slow start to this one as SSG is, of course, being a little bit more careful now with the active roaming presence being a consistent factor here for AG, and one that's kind of been a thorn in their side, too. They have to be very careful with how they proceed. Bosco, though, already working his way through the 2nd floor inside of the museum right now, holding a hard angle, just trying to see if he can counter out. Looks like they did get a Jackal track onto a player in the train yards. I believe it is Geo at this point. Yeah, Geo hiding out at the moment inside of the train yards. He's going to be waiting for this potential push to come his way, but he doesn't need to make a move. He's going to sit back, play it nice and patient. Another push going to be coming Bosco's way, but he did get a ping for it. So is more likely going to be able to avoid it. And as he saw, the player from EG decided to back away. Didn't push that after all. Running out of tracks here, though. Just use his second one. Should only have one remaining at this point.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
Fultz. Oh, what a shot. Geo will claim that life with a Nitro Cell, though, as obviously Fultz's reactions are quick, but they're not that quick. Rampy, on the other hand, though, will take down NVK, and all of a sudden SSG is in the lead. Only a minute left, though. They still have to focus on site, which they've had quite a bit of trouble doing so far.
Either way, they're making progress and knocking out the manpower here and splitting the setup up more than anything. So going closer and closer, just need to do, as you said, speed things up a little bit here as they are starting to run a bit low on time. Thankfully, with the roaming presence being taken care of, however, they can now start that push forward. And overall, as you can see, the setup looking very standard. So this shouldn't be too hard for SSG to deal with. This is your kind of basic setup for a defense, especially with the 3 players they have left. Very predictable positions right now on EG. It's just a matter of having that aim to be able to actually take them out, or the utility to force them out of cover right now. Smoke grenades are holding Thinking Nate and Chala back. This is the one huge negative that's been thrown against the members the attack right now is they haven't been able to get the wall open just yet, but now they're going to start their push back in. We can see Rampy going to be swinging in through the window as well. He's got a great flank onto these players, knocks out Canadian, gets Necrox, and one more goes down to Chala. That's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Space Station Gaming crushed the first map here on Kafe, and now they hold the lead in the series at 1-0.
Rampy with a little bit of hardcore parkour as he actually runs from bar over to new balcony. If you break the balcony apart, you can actually sprint across to the other one without falling to the second floor. So obviously, since the line of sight was smoked off, no one ever would have guessed that he was rotating over to new balcony because they didn't hear a swing on the window. Immediately he sprints over to that new balcony and is able to claim 2 lives quickly on Cocktail, making things a lot easier for SSG. It was getting quite scary there for just a second, but once they were able to break those lines of sight because all the ADSs were gone, made it a lot easier for that roster.
Overall, though, still a good performance from Space Station Gaming. EG as well, especially on their attack, trying their best, but issues still showing up mainly because of what their opponents bring to the table. The great info denial from Space Station Gaming on the Mute and Mozzie combo was such a thorn in EG's side, slowed down their attacks immensely, and left them often with just no time left to get onto the site, even when their actual fundamentals of the attack were working out fine. But that'll be the end of map number 1. EG's salvation will have to come in map number 2. It's going to be Clubhouse, guys. Stick with us and we'll be back with it in just a few minutes here from the 6 Major Raleigh.
To go. The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the 6 Major Raleigh. It is time to move into our second map between Space Station Gaming and Evil Geniuses. Space Station with an absolutely crushing scoreline on our first map, but it was their own pick on Kafe. Now we get prepared to head into our second map, one that they have a bit more of a shaky track record on, so we're going to have to see if they'll be able to pull off as strong of a win there, or a win at all. If EG, of course, get their own response. Map 3 on Villa could be in the cards as well.
Yeah, Clubhouse, especially for both of these teams, I feel like both of them have had a decent showing on them in the past, but again, land environment, completely different story. This map's a little bit harder to roam on and just a touch easier to gain presence in your attack. That doesn't mean all of a sudden it's easy, especially when you're attacking that upstairs. If something goes awry with utility or anything along those lines, then all of a sudden you've got a very big problem on your hands. So it's going to be all about adaptability for these two rosters, specifically Evil Geniuses. Gotcha more than likely had a lot to say to them after that Kafe game, but we are going into Evil Geniuses' pick now. If SSG is able to 2-0 this roster with this map, this will definitely send an exclamation mark to a lot of people.
A little bit worried for SSG going into this map, though. They've shown issues in the past, especially with, you were mentioning adaptability. That's a problem area for SSG on this map. They've had a lot of problems where, due to either roam presence from the defense or another factor, they ended up in pretty awkward situations, just not being able to adapt their attack strategy and trying to do a normal execute with like 2 or 3 players remaining, which on a lot of the sites here, you can't really pull off, especially against a fully armed team. So they're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to hope that they've improved that in preparation for this event. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see on that.
Just ask the Russians, they'll tell you. I mean, seriously, both of the Russian squads know how to play Clubhouse to the highest tier that I've ever seen in my life. On offense and defense, it's just something to behold. If you guys haven't seen that, I'm sure that you will see it later today.
Okay, guys, well, let's get into it. Our ban phase getting started now. It's map number 2. You can see the map share up at the top of your screen. SSG currently has the lead at 1-0 coming off of Kafe. First ban going to be Capital, once again, staying right at the top of that ban percentage.
Yeah, I'm going to assume they're going to see an Echo here as well, as he did throw a wrench into quite a few things that happened in that last map, and just annoying overall. Maverick going to be banned out next, and that's rudimentary for Clubhouse. He's very, very good at attacking the the server room, as well as most of the places downstairs. So you either ban out him or you ban out Habana. It's more or less pick your poison at that point. Echo also going to get removed, just like we talked about earlier, threw a wrench into a lot of plans last map. And last but not least, I'm going to assume probably it's going to be Mira or Maestro. Mira's not too oftenly played here. She's played upstairs inside of the CCTV room, cash room area, but nowhere else. And it seems that Evil Genius is also trying to think through this. I'm going to assume, yeah, it's going to be Mira. Okay.
It's
so
like
it's either her or it's going to be Maestro.
They're starting on defense too, so it's like, do we really want to not have the Alda? Like,
yeah, that's
at
true.
the end of the day,
that's
they
true.
have to make that decision.
Especially with how much damage they were able to do with it last game.
Yeah.
They didn't get very many rounds, but a lot of those were off of the back of Maestro's efforts on that defensive side.
It's a double-edged sword, unfortunately, to leaving it in, is that so many teams have incorporated it so heavily into their strat book now and just rely on the Alda as a fragging machine that, like,
so
you can't in good conscience ban it out when you're starting on that side, basically.
He's literally a living turret.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's actually insane.
With unlimited ammo on top of that, basically.
Yeah, practically. I mean, 81 bullets. I mean, you can literally kill every single member of the opposing team. And still have bullets left over. Like, obviously it only takes 1 bullet to hit somebody in the headshot, but even if you count for body shots, you can still pre-fire people and have enough bullets in order to remove everyone from the opposing squad in 1 clip. Yep. Which is, yeah, that's a thing.
Let's keep in mind, guys, TTK and Siege, I assume we have a couple of new viewers out there. Very low in this game. If you haven't watched the game before, a headshot, even through penetration most of the time, if you're shooting through a wall or something like that, most of the time is an instant kill.
It's with any gun. If you hit them in the head, they're dead.
And that's like pistols, SMGs, anything.
If you breathe on their head, they die. That's how it works.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Basically, wear a helmet.
The helmets don't work. Have you seen Thermite?
Yeah, I know.
They've tried. They tried. Castle has a really cool helmet as well. He's got some pretty cool skins for his head.
I was talking about just in real life. You have to be really careful.
Oh, yeah.
So you wear a helmet when you're playing.
I mean,
safety first.
Yeah, not to put this in a dark place, but that really doesn't work either. I mean, it just doesn't. But, hey,
wearing your headphones would be a bit difficult.
That's very true.
We're not responsible for any headphone-related issues. All right, guys, well, we are into the round now, and we have Space Station out onto the board. Obviously, I believe we started out in the basement for this site.
We did.
Yes, we did. So we're going to see the attack start out with a lot of a push through the strip club, working their way in through there and just kind of droning out the first floor. Probably not going to worry too much about the second floor positioning. I don't think that... Actually, no, there's quite a bit of roaming presence there, actually, so SSG will have to spend quite a bit of time dealing with this.
The Canadian was actually just showing some face on main stairs as well. Another drone to back up the drone that had just fallen to make sure that nothing else has happened. And Bosco's going to add another one just for good measure to make sure 3 times that no one is on this main staircase. Has rotated over into Moto, though, and just going to play out his life. The only man that's currently upstairs that we can see is going to be Geo. He does have some ADSs upstairs as well from the likes of NVK. So I'm going to assume that he is upstairs as well, and I would be correct. Bosco getting led around by 2 drones upstairs, going for this roam clear, but it's going to be a lot more difficult than he could possibly imagine, especially if he's going alone. They need some garage presence here just to make this a little bit easier. It appears that Chala might be on catwalk. He does have help from Rampy as well upstairs, but yeah, I believe that is Chala going to be on the catwalk out inside of garage. MVK's already rotated off. Canadian's actually going to die to thinking Nate, who was playing inside of stockroom right off of lounge. That's going to open up things a little bit more. Geo's going to allow NVK through instead of barricading the door directly in front of his face.
So caught on a rotate. Not going to be the best start for EG, but still very easily recoverable since they're playing into basement here. However, they have cleared out the roaming presence now. As you can see, a couple of hatches, I believe, already have been opened as well. Starting to do some deconstruction work here on the stairs just to make sure no one tries to get aggressive on the main stairs against them. That will kill any possibility of that, since it gives them full vision to the bottom of the stairs where a roamer would normally be sitting if they wanted to play aggressively. It doesn't look like, based on how, but yet they don't have the kitchen hatch open yet. And we'll have to see. Yep, we've already got the hole there for Young to trick it. First one's going to be easily tricked. Now they'll have to look for a way to counter that. Actually, oh, he had to use both in order to counter that and whatnot as well. So there's still a small hole popped open in it. And a second one, unless they have more impacts, should be able to pop it open.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that they did not have Necrox over there, because he can run impacts unless he has barbed wire currently on, but this kitchen floor is now going to be decimated by the likes of Bosco with that skeleton key, the universal tool to break down any door or floor that you could possibly need open, hence the term. Space Station now has presence inside of blue as well, as they will blow open the side of blue wall. Rampy making things extremely difficult to rotate around, and he's going to be able to claim his first life. That'll be Young rotating out of mud. Did not realize about the new line of sight. I'm going to assume a lack of call. Chala now inside of K9, I believe is where that diffuser went down. I couldn't really tell from the ground angle, but Thinking Nate as well is twice triple kill for him, and possibly with a 4. No, Necrox will knock him down, making things a touch easier, but not very much life. Only 1 toxic grenade and all of the angles that SSG could possibly imagine to remove a man that is really only breathing with 1 lung, as Fultz will put a bullet in that, and SSG will take the first offensive round here on Clubhouse.
Barnstorm, the execute there from SSG. I was a little bit worried about the timing of it, but thankfully they had so much hatch control opened up there. As you can see, got the kitchen hatch open with only 2 X-Kairos charges used in order to do that. Normally, you end up wasting all 3. It's very easy to trick that hatch, so I was a bit surprised we saw the utility from EG get used so quickly there, and that we didn't have more from another player there to bring some additional impacts, considering how important that is to denying the overall attack from your opponents. First round will go to the attack, though, go into SSG's hands, and now it's up to EG to decide where to take this. They will not stay in the basement. They'll head upstairs instead to the CCTV and cash room.
I like how SSG was able to handle everything on their offense, establishing early on that, okay, there is roam presence upstairs. They saw the hatch popped open inside of Waits. That's the room right off of master bedroom. We're connected to it next to the bathroom upstairs. So they saw that that hatch was open and said, okay, somebody's got to be upstairs. Either that or it's going to be a bait. Did not have a jackal on hand in order to really look for any footsteps earlier on, so instead they had to opt for the drones. And notice out that Mute is on the main stairs, but already rotated off. That was going to be Canadian, who eventually somehow got back upstairs. I'm going to assume that he rotated over towards blue and rotated up cash stairs from there. That's the only safe route that he could have possibly taken. But they rotate upstairs. We did not see Thinking Nate over inside of lounge. It was a very smart hold by them. Chala was actually waiting up on top of that catwalk balcony in order to have anyone that rotated through the server, or excuse me, CCTV room windows towards the garage catwalk in order to remove them from play. So they basically shut down every safe harbor of rotation that they possibly had from the upstairs, then just applied pressure to construction, forced the rotate out unless they wanted to die through gunfights or possibly win them out, but they tried to go for the safe route, just did not know that they were falling into the hands of SSG downstairs.
All right, guys, well, next round begins. We have a pretty standard setup here when it comes to EG's own play. They're going to keep the Maestro up on the catwalk instead of Garage to try and delay the push there indefinitely. We do not have a Montane from the attacks. They're not going for that kind of slow and steady strategy, much more free-flowing from the attack side right now. Obviously, a lot of hard breach. They route both the Habana and the Thermite in order to work their way in through there and open up as many possibilities to try and get as many angles as possible against this attack. The priority, of course, will be on the balcony, but if they can get, say, construction open as well, that will make the attack a whole lot easier, especially if you have a third angle established on the window on the other side of cash room from the balcony.
Flynn and I have both been talking about Space Station Gaming for a very, very long time. It's been our hills to die on for quite a while, and things have just never really been put together yet with this roster. They've always had the talent, they've always had the skill, but there was always something that got in their way. And
Consistency was a big problem.
Yeah, as of right now, it seems like this might be fixed. It might have been the move that they needed to add Fultz to the roster, because right now it seems like everything's plugged in, everyone's locked in. There hasn't been a single thing that was just an absolute blunder of a situation yet that they haven't been able to deal with, and that Kafe game, once again, was a massive mark in their book. SSG now, though, about halfway through this, they're still trying to get some garage presence. Chala's looking to get this exothermic charge down to try and deal with anybody that could possibly be playing catwalk. There is still quite a bit of roam presence upstairs toward the master side, as you guys can see that silhouette, over towards the the main stairs. Has rotated over towards Waits, though. They do have the balcony for the CCTV room open now, so they do have those lines of sight so that no one can possibly rotate and try and kill Default. They do have quite a bit of presence upstairs, though. They will have access to nitro cells, so they can always go for the explosive option if needed.
Restricting Canadian pretty heavily too. He did rotate back behind the hard wall that's in between the CCTV room and the outside catwalk leading onto the balcony. Evil Eye is going to be able to catch a drone here as it tries to move up for a little bit of intel. I'm pretty sure they saw the fact that the Maestro was at the window anyway, and Rampy's going to get it confirmed right now. So there's the yellow ping just to confirm it there. They know he's in there. Stun charge, I think, going out against him to try and stun him and open up a possibility. They do have intel on Young, but it doesn't matter. He picks up a 1-for-1 exchange. Geo, though, ends up going down with nothing to show for it as Fultz takes him out. Another stun grenade going out against the Maestro hiding in the back, but it doesn't matter. Canadian holds his own. Again, though, trades remaining strong enough for the attack here. They managed to take him out. Only 2 remaining. Canadian has taken a lot of heat from this. He's down to just a sliver of HP remaining. So Necrox is going to have to do most of the heavy lifting in this clutch.
They have to keep Canadian out of this point of contact. Otherwise, they will not be able to get this diffuser down, and the timer is running thin. They're going to try and pressure cash stairs as well as they try to go for this, but Necrox and Canadian shut him down as the rotation comes up from Master, or excuse me, from Main. Fultz to shut him down as well. Only 9 seconds remaining. Canadian, you have to breathe on him. Quick shot. Fultz not going to make any contact. Has to try and get this bullet through. Going to shift over to the window, and he finds him. Fultz! Ice in the man's veins. Not worrying too much about that bearing 9 spray earlier on. We won't talk about it. It's okay. Still gets around for SSG, but very close cut.
Canadian was going like 10 miles an hour. Fultz going 80 there, trying to speed his way to the win, and it works out for him. Nicely done there. Unfortunately, Canadian does to be fair to Canadian, did a really amazing job holding there as long as he did up until that point, but just too much pressure against him, it seems, at the end of the day, and wasn't able to properly read that final 1v1.
No, he should have been dead very early on. That was actually a very misthrown frag grenade earlier on from, I believe it was Bosco playing the Buck. So that was just a little bit of a blunder with that frag grenade that it did not hit its mark and allowed Canadian to stay alive, because he had quite a bit of damage done to him already. So, I mean, with him being able to stay alive and do as much as he did, granted the Alda, again, a fantastic weapon, but all it takes is for someone to hit him one time and he dies, and there's a little bit of a misplay there at the end by him, but it's very hard to keep track of where sound is moving in this game, especially when you have one massive opened hole in front of you and a window, and everything sounds like it's coming from the same way because of that. But for that last little bit of that round, it was really just on Necrox to try and shut down that push from the cash stairs, and he just could not seem to find his mark. Fultz went it out with a quick spray, but again, the Bearing 9 not doing any due diligence for him there, and he almost lost that last gunfight because of it.
Yeah, this is on top of like pivotal roamers like Geo, unfortunately not finding much impact in that last round. I don't know where Geo ended up dying, but it didn't look like he was able to get much done in the round. On top of like Young as well, who had been downstairs with the Cade. He went 1-for-1 ultimately, but I think he was probably hoping to hold that off that door push a little bit more efficiently. Not much else he could have done though besides the 1-for-1 exchange because of how far in the open he was. So just some very unfortunate circumstances for EG at the end of the day that they were not able to deal with. So got very close, however, so they are going to attempt to defend the site again and look to pick it up on the repeat here. Still a strong opening 2 rounds here from SSG, though the momentum does still seem to be swinging in their direction coming off of that win on Kafe.
I will say we did not see SSG deviate from any site pressure. They didn't try and go roam clear. They didn't try anything. Just focused directly on site, and that was their main focus the entire time. So they didn't even really give Geo the time of day. He tried to rotate back and ended up getting punished because of that. But it seems like now that they're going to try and get more aggressive. You guys saw MVK establish a camera outside on the side building, so you could possibly see some very aggressive play coming out from these more expendable operators.
Flash is going in against NVK here. He is ready with the Nitro Cell. Unfortunately, if he throws it, there won't be much to catch. All of his opponents that would be on the outside there are pretty far away and well out of the range of the Nitro Cell itself. With reinforcement here going to prevent any damage from being done from up on the roof into the window as well. We do have the EMP grenades moving in to allow them to try and breach through, but it shouldn't go off. Oh no, it does actually go off. Necrox is a little bit too slow in preventing that, so they do manage to successfully pierce their way through. And once again, get the balcony wall open. It's at the cost of a player, though, as Bosco ends up going down.
And that's all your frag grenades, so Canadian is probably breathing a sigh of relief that he's not going to have explosive frag grenades coming his way and trying to claim his life. So he's going to be able to maintain, more than likely, his spot up at the top of Catwalk. So that is, once again, where he is going to be playing. You see him on camera right there, but actually he's going to be playing inside of Garage, who he has an evil eye in here, so he's actually able to play off of his own intelligence. So very nice play so far. Spacestation Gaming trying to find a way into sight, and as you guys saw last time, they really didn't have a focus anywhere else. Fultz has rotated all the way over towards the billiards window, but instead will rappel back up in motion towards the back of the CCTV room.
So Rampy, along with the rest of the team, now getting prepared to execute here. It's definitely not looking as solid as it was in the last round here, especially without any of the early frags that they had to build off of in the first attempt here. They're just going to go in, though. Rampy pushing all the way into red stairs. At the moment, EG tearing it apart. As you saw there, Rampy's life saved by another teammate. He's going to continue to wrap around, try to kill out the roaming presence, but it will not work. EG absolutely shut down the push from SSG and finally get their first round here on Clubhouse.
SSG with a little bit of a flex as to what their main plan was. They actually sent Fultz on a different route in order to try and get a counter in there. It just ended up not working out. Fultz did get that initial frag, but he was immediately refragged after that. If he was able to maintain his life, we've already seen the capability of Fultz, even on Habana, which arguably does not have some of the best guns. Her Type 89 is pretty good, but it doesn't have the best mag capacity. It's only 23 rounds, if I can remember it off the top of my head, and that Bearing 9 can always spray wide as well. So even with that kid, he's been finding quite a few frags on this position as well, which has helped him out quite a bit. Just that round could not pick up the pieces, especially after Bosco had already fallen off.
Right, so working our way back into the round now. Back over to Basement here. As EG will attempt to win this out once again.
5-1.
What's up?
New kid on the block.
Oh, for Fultz, yeah. Doing some good work at the moment here. Definitely been improving his own performance. A little bit shaky, I think. We saw them play at their first LAN, which was back over at the Vegas Minor, but he's definitely improved himself since he's a little bit more comfortable with the team now and has come into his own stride.
Well, it's one of those things, I mean, here's the thing. The first time that you do something, especially something in front of a literal metric crapload of people, you're very nervous. You know, you're extremely nervous. You always think, okay, well, what if I misplay? What if I do this? What if I do that? And you're always inside of your own head. But once you finally get to that thing of, okay, my parents are watching, everyone's watching, I have to do my job, I have to accomplish this, this is what I've always wanted. You get in that headspace of, there is no way in hell that I'm losing this game to anyone. It doesn't matter. And it feels like Fultz has really finally gotten to that headspace of, I don't care who's across from me, we will beat them. If you guys want to notate that the most inside of Rainbow Six Siege, look at Fabian. Fabian, every single time, he's like, I don't care who it is. I really don't. I could care less. I don't care if their name's George. Yeah. I don't. But if they're across from me, just know they're losing the game.
You have a problem with people named George?
Huh?
You have a problem with people named George?
I only know one of them, and he's really short. It's not King George, by the way.
He's calling you all short out there, Georges.
I have one friend named George, and he's actually short. It is not
take
King
that?
George, I promise. I'm going to get a tweet from King George now that's like, are you talking crap?
Nice, fine from Rampy.
Rampy's going to take his head off.
Just deletes him right through the wall. Beautiful stuff there. And again, that's exactly the start that SSG need. Like we said before, or like I was saying before, they do have some problems with deviating from their strategy if things don't go their way at the beginning of the round. So these early picks are really helping them to not have to do that. That was the problem in the last round. Didn't really seem to have a plan for getting into the cache site, so they kind of just tried to force their way into it since they were running out of time, and it went as you saw, with EG pretty much destroying it the second the push came in.
Well, Jocko tracks now coming through for Bosco, no longer on the buck, which he might have really wanted to play that here. Could probably do a lot better at breaking up the flooring instead of that secondary shotgun. Bolts on the upside down rappel, and this is something that's been happening ever since Clubhouse's original map setup. You need 4 of those X-Kairos to go off in order to blow open a hatch, but he's only going to get 2 here. An EMP will fall to the floor as an impact will rain through, but oh no, the metal's going to stop it from underneath, so the explosive pattern will not be able to burst through and stop any of those X-Kairos from going off. A little unlucky there for Young, as he did not get to prevent the hatch from going open. Bosco now will get some information on site, as we have now just broken into the sub-minute margin. Space Station Gaming still 5 up, but not too much presence on site just yet. They do have the kitchen hatch open. That's really all you need to try and go for an armory take, as it's not safe to really rotate around any side over here now since the floor has been broken open. Stun grenades will rain through, smoke grenades will go off, and that's actually going to make it a safe rotation for Young to rotate over to K9.
Very early plant attempt here coming in now for these guys. We're going to see Fultz pick up an early frag here against players trying to stop the defuse from happening. Now the rest of the team going to be working their way in. Necrox with a good push. Geo with a little pickup as well. EG battling their way back into this after they fell to a man advantage, but still even into a 2v2, and a lot of the remaining SSG players are stuck up top.
Rampy now trying to rotate his way back in through boxes. He does know that there is still 1 remaining over here. It's going to be Necrox. They have to try and find a way to fight through this diffuser. Bosco trying to hold down the kitchen door, trying to hold back. Rampy with the triple kill, though. The low angle taken by Geo will get shut down by Bosco, as SSG finds a way into site. Armory lockers off the back of a lot of utility usage. Very, very good.
So we'll move into the next round here and see how exactly SSG are able to continue that in these following rounds. It's going to go back up to gym bedroom here now, as once again the basement just not faring that well for EG under these circumstances here. Once again, hatch openings on top of just ease of access of intel there, especially if you noticed it once they managed to get the kitchen hatch open. They were able to just flood like 2 to 3 different drones down there, and that pretty much revealed all the positions from EG. Now EG got a little bit crazy there. They got a little aggressive, tried to stop the plan from happening, and nearly actually worked out for them, but unfortunately did not end up having enough presence there in order to win out the 2v2.
Well, tactical timeout for Evil Geniuses, and you know exactly why. This is their map choice, and they're getting extremely bullied. They really are. Young, it just seems that everything in the world is against Evil Geniuses right now. Even all the way down to Young trying to impact some X-Kairos off of a hatch. He saw that the hole was open from a previous X-Kairos spell. He's like, okay, best option right here is I'll throw the impact right through that hole. It gets rid of all of them. 200 IQ. You thought you were getting the hatch open. Well, they thought right, because they got the hatch open, and the impact actually went off on the bottom of the hatch, which did not allow the radius of the explosion to go off properly, meaning that all the X-Kairoses were allowed to go off, getting the kitchen hatch open, and that's all that SSG needed. It was more like a call sign to them that, hey, we can all of a sudden take over site. They dump literally every piece of utility that they have into site, smoke grenades, making it a little bit easier for Young to rotate out of Mud Tunnel, because he was locked down there for just a second, but it did not matter at the end of the day. When you have Rampy on the field, everything is possible.
SSG looking solid right now, a 3-1 lead over EG. We are heading back in game as the pause has expired. As you can see right there, EG discussing something. NVK looking a little bit frustrated, so hopefully able to figure out what exactly went wrong and start to correct things going into the next round here.
They just have no presence in order to shut down SSG and what they want to do. They haven't been able to really battle back for map control at all, and that's one difficult thing about Clubhouse. This map used to be the most difficult thing to attack in the world because it leaned a lot on how good are you at using utility. Well, obviously Clubhouse has been around for an extremely long time. Everyone's almost got 4 years inside of this game now if you started right when the game came out. Everyone's good at using utility now. You don't have to sit there and just go, okay, I gotta wait for my Thatcher to rotate. Okay, we can get the kitchen hatch open now. Oh, somebody impacted it. Like, everyone's gotten a lot better at establishing angles, being able to hold things down to get kitchen hatch open, getting everything that they need very quickly. And SSG is definitely doing that right now. Evil Geniuses, once again, just not being able to battle back, and they haven't really been able to work out a roam game or anything in order to establish any presence over Space Station Gaming. Even the round that they won was extremely close.
Very, very close for the most part here. It came down to the wire. As we saw, even with the kind of haphazard execute that EG ended up winning, it still came down to just a few players remaining for EG there, as they were able to close it out at the end of the day. But here we go into yet another attacking round for SSG. potential opportunity for them to push it ahead, but it is a new site, just like they haven't actually attacked yet, so some new territory for them, maybe some salvation for EG to come out of this one. There's a little bit more spreading required on the attack in order to properly attack this. X-Cairo is going to be used in order to pop open the gym reinforcement on the castle there. They do not have a buck or a sledge to be, well, more importantly a sledge in this case, to be able to easily deal with those castle barricades, so as we're going to see, they have to use the X-Kairos on 2 of them in order to open up the windows.
Well, Space Station running, well, the rudimentary setup, especially when these operators are available. They all practically have 100% play rate when they are available to Space Station, especially for the Zofia of Rampy, which is used quite often. Definitely one of his most favorite operators in the game, and he's showing you exactly why. Shuts down Geo early, and Maestro will now get identified from Bosco's Inox, which is the thing on his head that tracks everyone. As Chalo will be doing a 200 IQ thermite on the ground to blow open the bottom of the electrified wall as more angles will be established. Fultz knocks down Necrox, and they're making quick work of EG inside of Cash.
Again, that's that early roaming presence being dealt with without really much of an effort at all right now from SSG.
Those 2 lines of sight that they established quickly, they did it on top of each other. So the explosion from the ground over near the other panel inside of CCTV room masked the sound of Fultz's X-Kairos going off, made it a lot more difficult for Evil Geniuses to keep track of 2 things happening at once, especially when it's only Necrox locked down inside of Cash. He can't rotate out, someone's holding his cross, so it's more like, okay, I have to win one of these gunfights and then just hope to God that I can possibly play my life remaining in here. But with those 2 lines of sight established, just did not work out for him.
Go into the next round here. We're continuing on with SSG. Under a minute left here. Now, this round's just gone by very, very quickly as SSG are now on the cusp of starting to work towards their execute. As you can see, a few more walls getting popped open as they'll drone their way into logistics. They will find Young hiding out in there. Still won't be the easiest thing in the world to flesh out, however. Oh, look at this. So they've got the pinch potential, but a second player surprises them. It's actually Young himself who makes the run through the hole they just popped open and finds his own second kill on Bosco. Rampy again, though, there to trade it back. Still keeps the man advantage going here for SSG and pushes it even further, leaving everything on Young himself. He'll have to ace this to clutch it, and it's not going to be easy. Stun grenade thrown at him. It actually doesn't impact him all that much, so he's able to move in. Knocks out Rampy. Takes down the Zofia here. 2 more players to go. That was his 4th kill now. Oh my God. Young is so close to being able to clutch this out, but now so low and thinking Nate still has full HP. He's been given so much time to retreat out onto the jacuzzi balcony as well, and Young does not have any intel to play on this unless there was a camera that was left somewhere on the inside of that site. They have no way of knowing he fell back out. It seems that Young has the good idea about it though, but still less than half the time remaining to jump onto the counter defuse. He's trying to find him so quickly here. He works his way in, trying to check every particular angle. Knows he's going outside at this point. He's checked pretty much everything else. Jumps in the counter defuse, just a fake though. He's gonna try to make a run onto the balcony, but thinking Nate is ready for it. Takes him out, denies the ace and the clutch, and puts another round onto the board for SSG.
All of that brain inside of that afro, the 200 IQ plays as he plays things slow and steady, realizing that Young has to come to him. He does not have to go to Young. And definitely with the safe area that he was playing, you can hear the diffuse from there. It's practically just like going to your favorite restaurant and relaxing for a little bit, right? So
Yeah.
Sitting outside with a nice glass of iced tea instead of trying to get down and dirty with Young inside. Quick rotations, though, and Young definitely showing his prowess as that quad was almost a saving grace for Evil Geniuses, but Evil Geniuses just cannot find anything on this defense right now. Again, we talked a lot yesterday about players having to perform heroics to bring rounds back, and that's not always going to work. You can't always have the one person that just has to pop off in order to save the team, and that seems like what Evil Geniuses is having to lean into right now. I mean, having to ace clutch in order to just try and get another round, that's asinine.
Yep. Absolutely insane right now in the way that SSG are able to dominate this so far. Only 1 successful counter. And I mean, yeah, it's a very impressive run from Rampy specifically along with Fultz right now. Fultz, of course, we saw in the early game. Rampy's really picked it up over the last 2 to 3 rounds as well with his entry kills. SSG lights out right now.
For a very, very long time, since Fultz has been picked up, everyone was talking about this combo of Rampy and Fultz, and once they get into unison, what could possibly happen? I believe that we're now seeing that, and again, Fultz on Hibana, we talked about her kit and how it's not the best in the game, but it's balanced. That's a good thing, right? It doesn't have a broken gun. It's a very good gun, just low mag capacity. The Bearing 9, arguably the worst SMG secondary in the game, especially in my eyes. The gun's garbage. It's bad. I would much rather use the SMG-12.
That's some opinions there?
Yeah, I would much rather use the SMG-12 with a hope, wish, and a prayer rather than use that gun. Its kick is just annoying because it kicks up and to the right.
Yeah.
It's like the AK from other games. So You know, this is very, very annoying.
I understand the reference.
Yeah, it's just very, very annoying. But again, Fultz is still making magic happen with it. Rampy over on the Zofia, which you've seen him play countless times before. This team is just firing on all cylinders, and I can definitely tell you that they're fueled up.
Well, we are on the cusp of another 5-1 potentially, as EG have gone back to the basement for the 3rd time now. No early pick to be found this time from Rampy. That's the angle that he caught NVK on the last time they attacked basement. Obviously, he won't make that mistake once again, so won't be anywhere near that angle this time. But they do still have, I believe it's Canadian on the inside of blue to worry about, so if they still try to push through that and use that angle, they'll have to be mindful of that. However, they really haven't been using blue too much for these basement attacks. It's more so been the standard hatches inside of bar to get Memorial control and kitchen that they've actually gotten open on every single basement attack so far.
So actually, funny enough, the cache CCTV room is Space Station's most favorite site to attack on the entire map. They've won it 8 times and only lost attacking it twice. So very interesting statistic that is kind of telling a tale of the tape here. But for Church Arsenal, they're actually split right down the middle, 6-6. So it seems like if they're going to try and get something done, Evil Geniuses needs to get it done on this basement site, but they haven't had too much success with it so far.
Now it's been 2 rounds already going the way of SSG, and again, hatch control's been a big part of that. Speaking of which, we can see some of those X-Kyroses just on top of it. Only 2 going to be able to explode this time as far as I can see, but Hell's trying to pop up another hole here before they attempt it again to possibly give them an overview onto the player that's trying to deny that and prevent him from doing exactly that and tricking it with those impact grenades. Chala also, of course, already having the Memorial hatch open, which usually doesn't get resisted too much by the defense, because since it doesn't really give you a whole lot of dangerous control. But what it does allow them to do is now push their way in and start to pop open the church wall over by the half bar and give them access into the site.
Space Station definitely not afraid about taking their time. Geo, though, will finally find something. It's going to be Fultz. It's a massive impact. His concussion will rain through, but again, immediate ADS behind the AC unit. Geo continues his reign of terror, at least for round 6. We haven't seen him be too awake just yet. Toxic Babe's now raining over towards main stairs. The Space Station is trying to find a will and a way to get in. The diffuser is down inside of Moto as Rampy will finally clean up Canadian inside of blue. Still have to try and find a way into sight as we have a Valkyrie playing in between the broken sides of the church wall, so going to be a very awkward angle, but Thinking Aid wins it out nonetheless. Still have to find their way into church here and trying to get a diffuser down. They still have to actually pick it up. Only 5 seconds remaining. Thinking Aid will be down. Bosco going to have to perform some heroics here as Young and MBK. They just have to play time. 0-0 on Mark, and that's going to be Evil Geniuses with their 2nd round.
So good stuff from Evil Geniuses. Geo specifically being a bit of a hero right there as well with the double kill that he was able to pick up for himself. Some nice aggressive play in order to stunt the aggression, as this is right after they managed to get open that church wall when things started to get really dodgy for EG.
So actually, funny enough, Evil Geniuses' defensive side of Clubhouse is almost terrible. It's they're negative on 2 of their routine sites, on Church Arsenal and Cache CCTV, and then Master, they're split right down the middle. They've won it twice and they've lost it twice across their last few matches on Clubhouse.
So we've now switched sides, however, and finally the defensive side for EG has ended. The nightmare is over, as they unfortunately ended it with only 2 rounds to their name at 2-4 here. SSG just needs 3 of these defensive rounds to win, so basically just needs to complete a site triangle, win 3 out of these sites, and they'll be able to take this map and the match along with it for an early qualification into the playoffs, the top seed out of Group C here, and to send Evil Geniuses down to the decider match tomorrow.
I definitely don't think that anyone had SSG going out 2-0 in this, so it'll definitely be kind of a shock to the system, to the ecosystem of Rainbow Six Siege in general. Everyone, I'm pretty sure, had Evil Geniuses making out on top and Vodafone going out 2nd, or SSG going out 2nd. That was usually what I was seeing from a lot of people's predictions. So to have SSG go out first, that's a massive thing for not only the Orc, but these players.
Let's find out exactly what EG have to offer us, and arguably their better half here. As you might expect, it is looking like it's going to be the basement attack. Hatch over here in Memorial's actually already just been opened up for them. They won't even bother reinforcing it since it's so easily opened up under many circumstances. As a result of that, we'll see a little bit of ease of access there for the EG guys. Still have to spend plenty of time getting the rest of it open, though, and of course trying to clear out any anti-roam or any roaming presence that is on the map right now, which we do have quite a bit of it. There's one at least hiding out over there towards the cache stairs, which is why they have this wall reinforced currently, and I believe one more player closer to the blue stairs too.
Upside down repel for Young, as he will be able to get that X-Kairos to go, that exothermic charge to go off on the CCTV wall. They're already establishing these angles extremely early on upstairs for this roam clear. Obviously, if you're going to dedicate reinforcements upstairs, you're more than likely going to have people along with it. Necrox rotating in through Strip Club. Does see a castle barricade that has been set up for the bar area, and Bosco will be playing inside. Could probably safely rotate through bathroom here, but he chooses to drop off instead, as he is Vigil, so it can actually still be as annoying, if not more, from downstairs just turning on and turning off his backpack, making it seem like somebody's on that mid floor when clearly they are not.
About a minute of the round having gone by, though not really much action happening between the two teams. Obviously, you can see EG getting a good amount of intel onto the players upstairs, trying to ice them out and eliminate them from this game. Obviously, they can't really push into the site until they've been able to take out at least Thinking Nate upstairs, as that could be a real problem if they try to do it while being ignorant to him. So either having to commit someone to constantly watch for him, raising another man. You got Rampy upstairs here too, trying to counter out some of the bar pressure. He could actually creep up onto Geo right now, but that's not going to be necessary as Thinking Nate just takes him out outright. Rampy coming to support, also finds NVK here, and now EG's attack already been stunted just by the roaming presence.
Just did not have a good clear upstairs, not account for someone to rotate up main stairs, and they are everywhere. They're all over EG, and that's Diffuser down as well inside of bathroom. Space Station Gaming, we thought they just had the rocket fuel, folks, but they're all the way in space right now as they're taking it to Evil Geniuses.
Just Canadian and Necrox left. They still have at least some hard breach potential on Necrox, but a 2v5 with 45 seconds left, and your diffuser is down in 2 floors away from where you actually need to execute. It's not looking good. Thinking Nate with another. Rampy gets his second on the round, and it's a flawless opening defense from Space Station. EG don't even step foot in the basement, let alone actually get close to winning the round. SSG now just 2 more rounds away from clearing the group.
What do you even say to your teammates after something like that, where you have a top clear and then literally you just get countered on everything you do, all the way down to just 2v5? It's like, all right, guys, good luck, have fun. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's just over at this point. We can try and get the diffuser back, but everyone obviously has their sights set on that diffuser. It is the most important tool inside of Rainbow Six, utility-wise. I mean, I guess you could call the case a piece of utility, couldn't you? And it forces the round into either further demise for the defense, or they get to hold on to it and prevent the offense from literally doing anything they could possibly want. SSG, with this roam game that they currently have set up on Clubhouse, I don't think Evil Geniuses has an answer for it. Obviously, you can jackal track someone and try and get some information, but the assistance from SSG to each other has been helping out so very much. They did not even keep Thinking Nate on an island upstairs. They were able to maintain, I believe it was Bosco, that was playing on the Mozzie, who rotated up main stairs, able to help out Thinking Nate. I mean, Thinking Nate in his own right was also helping himself out quite a bit, especially with that SMG-11 spray that he had over towards logistics. But Bosco also helping out quite a bit with shutting down that master take.
Another big key to this that I think could potentially open an opportunity up for EG is they were relying once again on that mute Mozzie combo, so probably a good denial on any drone intel onto those roamers, and that might explain part of the reason why EG had such a problem taking those guys down. But that's been changed up now. We don't have either of those operators coming into the fold for this round. This is a different site, so they need a kind of different composition here. So maybe the lack of drone denial and just intel denial in general might make things a little bit easier for EG on this round.
EG coming out pretty flat right now. Didn't really pick up any rounds on Kafe. We thought it might have been just a little bit of an issue with the map, but right now it seems that Space Station is really just taking them to school. I mean, their defensive setups have been much improved to compare to what EG has been doing. EG has been playing quite a bit of turtle defenses, which means you're mostly sat up on site. You really don't dictate or rotate yourself off of site to really do much. I mean, we saw Geo try and do that a couple times, but they weren't nearly as aggressive on their setup as Space Station was, where Space Station has reinforcements all the way off site. They reinforced CCTV last time, castle barricades to hold down bar. I mean, everything except the kitchen sink upstairs to try and force that to work, and that's why it did, is the amount of utility that they put with their roamers upstairs. We never saw that from Evil Geniuses. They were more focused on their site holds, and it just never really worked out for them. Thinking Nate now trying to bandit trick an upside down Young as he tries to get this exothermic charge online. Necrox rotating over towards the CCTV window, but could definitely meet a match inside of Chala from Garage.
Once again, waiting for his opportunity just to throw the charge down and get the wall open here. Double grenades going in. Thinking Nate's not going to be able to prevent that from happening. So the balcony door does get opened on the right side here starts to establish a better angle for EG to execute. You can see they have Necrox on the other side by that window as well, so it could start to add a little bit better of an angle cross here in order to open up the site for EG to actually start hopping in. You still have presence from a Maestro in Garage that more than likely will need to be dealt with before they can execute. Necrox is actually going to change up his own position, work in with some of the rest of the team here over towards logistics now, and start to potentially push in from construction too.
We have Rampy as well as I think Bosco downstairs as Geo is trying to hold the flank. Rampy has a Nitro Cell, so he could obviously play devil's advocate from underneath, but it's going to be Chala to start things off here in round 8 as they're trying to get to this match point as soon as possible. NVK to fall, no more EMPs on board, but I don't believe he had any left. Geo will find Rampy downstairs playing inside of Lounge as Geo will actually set that as his sights, and I'm going to assume that Bosco heard him drop. If Geo doesn't account for someone possibly playing over here, Bosco, are you going to hear him? I don't think he does. Actually, no, Bosco will rotate in behind him, but Rampy to win it out as Geo actually gets completely capped, and Bosco with a flank will take down Necrox and Space Station with 2 flawless rounds in a row, Blue. These defenses are insane. Evil Geniuses cannot find a single way in. It doesn't matter what chess piece they try to use. It appears that SSG is the queen and the king in this matchup.
Oh, with a spicy headshot there at the end of it as well. But 6-2, it's now map and match point for Space Station Gaming. Evil Geniuses just don't seem to have an attacking response to SSG right now. The only hope is going to have to be on Space Station's gym and bedroom defense being slightly weaker.
I'm going to have to give this to you. I really am. You talked about how Evil Geniuses' offenses were not very good yesterday, and I legitimately thought it was only because of the team that they were playing up against. Ninjas and Pajamas are a very, very aggressive team on defense, but we did say earlier that if SSG is able to replicate that Evil Geniuses could have some problems, and they're definitely replicating that, and EG is definitely having some problems.
And once again, it's like the large majority of the SSG roster also just having amazing individual performances right now. If that continues throughout the week, oh boy, are they going to be a team to be messed with, especially if they win this round and get the playoffs.
You and I have talked about it quite a bit, especially with anything like this, where it's this big tournament format. We've had these long-standing inside of esports for majors. Usually, it's not the person that you think's going to win the tournament. It's always that one that shows up with the hot hand that just cannot be stopped. Most notably, in recent history, it'd have to be Team OG from Dota 2, the Red Bull team, that legitimately just wiped off everyone off the face of the map at TI. And we might have another one of those possibly in the making here, where, you know, they're a little bit lower on the list. They're still a good team, but no one really expected anything out of them. We might be calling it a little bit early here, but Space Station is looking fantastic.
All right, guys, well, this is it. The last bastion of hope. It's the same situation they were in back on Kafe, and Geo, he's already been dealt with. Rampy, a beautiful shot. What is this angle? Where even was Geo? Where's his body? It's right there.
It's disintegrated.
What?
It's disintegrated.
What is that angle? Oh my God, that's crazy.
That's we call it the Rampy special. That's what we call it.
Oh my God.
That's something that you never look for, and then you die from it and go, why? That's what that is. Especially with the TCSG-12, guys. That's a shotgun, by the way. It's not a rifle. That is a shotgun. It's a slug shotgun. If you guys don't know what a slug is, instead of a spray pattern, a slug is a single large metal ball that is shot from a shotgun weapon. And it's quite damaging, especially at longer ranges, because it still keeps its same potency.
Reloading. So, EG have now lost their anti-roam, and what's the biggest issue they've been dealing with on this attack is, for the most part, roaming presence.
Uh-oh.
This is not a good look.
This feels bad for EG.
It's not looking good, that's for sure. We're going to have to hope that someone steps up big time in this round. Either NVK, Necrox, or someone else needing to bring the big fragging power into this round, as otherwise it's already over. And SSG, they're going to playoffs.
Well, Young already got his burst of speed out for this matchup with that quad earlier that eventually just did not work out for him. Could not find Thinking Nade out on the jacuzzi balcony, but they're definitely going to need something from all of these remaining members. They have all their hard destruction as well as a will in order to get it through. Oh, gonna get them both as Rampy does the electro shuffle impact through. He's literally dealing with every single piece of equipment that they're throwing at him. Rampy is an absolute madman. He's shuffling everything, and he gets the Exkyros. Oh my God, Rampy, you absolute monster with utility and weapons. He's got it all. Canadian's gonna blow himself up. What is happening? What is this game? Rampy continues to hold down cash. Chala rotates into construction. This is all SSG all the way. This is incredible.
EG are literally falling apart at the seams right now. Necroc's gonna get caught by Chala on a hop out. Young trying to get aggressive over here towards logistics. Not much to find at this point in the round. 40 seconds remaining, however. And again, you're not gonna catch SSG making an aggressive, well, maybe you will, as there's one player peeking from the inside of bathroom. Foltz, at this point, just trying to play with them a little bit. There you go, he's reached 30 seconds, could start using those toxic gas grenades. He still has another one left as well. So at most, EG, with only 2 players left standing now, are gonna have at most 10 to 15 seconds to push their way in. There goes the second gas grenade. It should still be going for quite some time. There's no reasonable way we can see EG winning this one. Young and NBK, where are they even at this point? Out on the balcony they were before. They try to make a run up main stairs. Young gets culled very quickly. NBK trades for 2, but that's it. Bosco shuts it down. And Space Station Gaming are going through in a crushing 2-0 victory over EG into the quarterfinals.